is the easiest. Right. My name is Kate Clow. I'm Turkish. Although you wouldn't think so to hear me talk today. I've been making cultural roots in Turkey for 35 years, and today I'm going to put my foot in it. So this talk is actually in two parts. One part is about the Illiken Way, which was the first Turkish cultural route, or walking route. And the other part is about the Eurasia, which was an attempt, or is an attempt, at a long-distance route candidate for the Council of Europe Cultural Routes programme and the story of that. Now, at the bottom here of this slide, you'll see some old roads. And I should say first, I am crazy about old roads. When I walk on a cultural route, when I walk on anything, I want to put one foot in front of the other and feel that someone else has been here before me, that this route, or this road, this track, whatever, was constructed in time and space for use, for trade, for military purposes, for villagers to move their animals, as access to high pastures, or for some other reason. I do not want to think of it as a connection between two nodes, and for this reason, I reject entirely the Timothy and Boyd definition of a trail or route, which I see quoted again, and again in academic publications by people who never walk. Okay. That is how I'm putting my foot in it to start with. On the left, you will see an aqueduct. It is actually a siphonic system, which is part of an aqueduct in southern Turkey. In the center is part of the Via Appia in Brindisi. In the center, next one, is a Pisidian road made out of huge slabs. And on the right is a Byzantine track between two monasteries. And these are all physically constructed. Oh, yeah, I can do that, can I? Yeah. Which one do I? Oh, right, okay. So, in 1992, having lived in Turkey for a few years, I discovered that there were enough roads, enough old roads in Lycia, to form Turkey's first continuous walking trail. On the right-hand side here, if I can, I don't know if I can press this. No, sorry. Going back. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to give this up. On the right-hand side here is part of the siphonic system that you saw in the previous photograph. It's a massive construction of blocks carrying a 17-kilometer water delivery system to the capital of Lycia, Patara. Okay, and this is I think they're a Balkan walking group, but I don't know exactly where they're from. Okay, so the Illiken Way has two purposes. One is the preservation of old roads, and the other is the support of villagers who live along them. And on the left, you can see not an old road, but a gateway to an old road, if you like, part of an old city in Lycia. And to the top, you can see two villagers who are running small accommodation units along the route. Fatma and the Mukhtar Recep. This is the route. So the Illiken Way was first published in 1999. At that point, it was 509 kilometers of waymarked coastal and mountain route. We're now in 2022. There are now 760 kilometers of route. 60 kilometers has been changed from the original route, and 250 kilometers have been added. There are at least 13,000 waymarks along the route, the red and white signs there, which occur every 80 meters or less. And there are plans to re-signpost the route. It's not been signposted since 1999. So The new areas of the route are from Sidima to Xanthos. They're two old cities which were joined by Roman road. We've managed to rediscover the road, and that will be incorporated. That is incorporated in the route now. There's a network in the centre called the St. Nicholas Ways, and these are pilgrimage routes, and this is the only time I'm going to use the word pilgrimage. These are routes that Byzantine pilgrims used to access the monasteries in the hills above Demre, because they had concatenated the first St. Nicholas, who was the bishop of Demre, with the second St. Nicholas, who was the founder of the monasteries in the hills, and they thought that by visiting the monasteries in the hills, they were actually visiting the grave of the St. Nicholas downstairs, if you like, the one downstairs by the coast. Right. And this is a network of 6 routes which join various Byzantine churches, which are very, very special because they're triconchos churches, and they're almost the only ones in Turkey and in the Middle East. There are 1 or 2 examples in Palestine and in Egypt. The Lira route, in complete contrast, is named after Philip Pullman's heroine and is a wild route around the back of Taratala Mountain. And it was opened just a little earlier this year. And the last part is several routes which make an extension towards the St. Paul Trail and which will join on to the completed network. Okay. So in 2022, in fact, just before I came here, I delivered to the printer the new book of the route, the Lykin Way, which is linked to an app which is also now being redeveloped, and it extends the route to 760 kilometres. The Cultural Route Society, of which I am the chairman, which was founded in 2012 and which manages the Lykin Way plus other routes in Turkey, is putting a new emphasis on inclusivity and education. So last year, just after the pandemic made it possible, we ran the first Cultural Routes course for Turkish university students at a private university in Antalya. So this is now documented, and if anyone needs them, it was in English. The slides are all there, the material is all there. If anyone wants to run a comparable course anywhere else, you're welcome to it. We used for the first time an EU-funded volunteer group under the EVS scheme for waymarking, and was it hell? It was hell not because of the students, it was hell because of EU bureaucracy. The system is not designed for waymarking cultural routes. It gives you a minimum of 10 students. I wanted 8 because 2 groups of 4 are ideal. It wouldn't pay for any transport along the route. And in fact, the definition of waymarking a long-distance route is you have to move along the route. So you need transport. Okay. We've also just completed a project called Voin. Voin in Turkish, Voin in Turkish means, hey, hi, look at it. And this is collecting cultural artifacts along the area of the Lykin Way and making a mobile museum. And you can see the mobile museum is this ancient cabinet on the right-hand side. And we also did a project. This is our first arts project, if you like. It's called the Performance Journey along the Via Eurasia. And it was done in association with a body called Mitost, which is a German charitable arts organization, and a small group of cultural artists from Serbia. And what we did was identify 3 historical sites in Turkey, in northern Greece, and in Albania that were on the Via Eurasia, which is in fact the Via Egnatia continued on into Turkey. And one of these sites was the granary of or the museum surrounding the granary of Hadrian at Demre. The other one was the waterfalls at Edessa. And the third one was the both Ottoman and Roman old city of, God, the name's gone, Elbasan in Albania. Okay, and we, with local people, with local artists, the artistic team spent a week running workshops and then creating a performance using the historical background as both an inspiration and as a backdrop. And I think this is the first time that this has been done on a cultural route, that local history, local people, modern performance artists have been combined into a product which is available for the public to view. And there is a handbook on how to do it. There is a film of it, and you can go and watch these. If you look at, for the Cultural Roots website on YouTube, we have a big YouTube channel with films about the work that we did on the performance journey on it. I have 3 more minutes. Okay, right. We've also done a lot of mapping, QGIS mapping. Right, these are some pictures from the routes. Right, these are the Byzantine churches, St. Nicholas's Way. This is my volunteer group, and the Performance Journey Project. This you can see here, the site performance is here, villagers on the right showing how to use traditional tools, performance artists using a naturally occurring old tree as a prop. We're also encouraging local crafts. This is a collection of local carpets. Now, the Via Eurasia. The Via Eurasia was formed by the amalgamation of the European Association of the Via Francigena with the Cultural Roots Society to create what they wanted, a long-distance extension of the Via Francigena towards Jerusalem. It was a mistake, because from the start, their image of this extended route was one of pilgrimage. And to use the word pilgrimage in a Christian context, in a Turkish environment, with Turkish authorities, is just not possible. But we added various other local bodies, and we carried on developing this route. We had some European Union money to do so, and we formed this network of both local authorities, both trail groups, and we defined the course of the route. We have, this route has all been walked, it's been identified, and I think there are about, out of 4,000 kilometres, there is about 200 kilometres that is not defined, so it's not doing too badly. These routes are all from Roman times, then from later Byzantine and Ottoman times. So the project started in 2016, it carried on until 2020, until the pandemic. And in 2021, it was rejected as a European cultural route. The main ground was that the theme didn't match the requirements of the European Cultural Routes Institute. The structure is in place for a new application if we want to proceed in future, and the committee is now thinking and talking about this. But the route actually commemorates and uses, and what's more, functionally operates as a tourism product on a network of old roads which stretches right the way from Rome to the southern coast of Turkey. And some of these roads are wonderful. It also incorporates a lot of other sites along the road, caravanserais, Roman bridges, the god of Apollo, which guards the entrance and exit to Pisidian cities. Bridges rebuilt by Mimar Sinan, aqueducts, amazing things that you can see on the route. It has a scientific committee, which, and we have a lot of documentation to support the route. The report that the European the Council of Europe wrote on the route agreed that the theme represents European values, but then said that the theme is obscured by focusing on a long-distance walking trail. This does not make sense to me. These ancient road networks were made for using. They were made for putting one foot in front of another foot and getting to your destination and being accommodated in a caravanserai or in a coaching inn or a mansio or whatever the appropriate accommodation was at the time. And these roads are meant to have people's feet on them. And this is the only way that old roads in Europe can be preserved. So, I would just like to say, from the point of view of us in Turkey as managers of old roads, from the point of view of Max as a partner in this project, from the point of view of any other organization which is considering making application or joining to the Council of European the Council of Europe Cultural Routes Organization, be careful. There is a big innate prejudice against anything from Eastern Europe that can possibly be identified with Muslim, Ottoman, non-European history. This is a white, Christian, Catholic organization. And that is really my message for today. Thank you.
It was rejected in 2019, you said? Or
2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Years ago, last year.
Yeah.
And do you follow your lobby in order to get support? Or do you
There is no use in lobbying against the wall.
You're giving up?
No, we haven't decided to
You
be
don't look
perfectly
at
honest.
the person who's giving up.
Thank you, that's very
One
kind of
foot
you.
after the other one.
Yeah.
Maybe
But there are also more priorities, because I should have added this as part of the presentation. I'm of the opinion now that I'll come back here for just 1 second.
Yeah, only 1 second, but anyway, it's important.
I'm of the opinion now that cultural routes have a limited lifespan available to them because in view of climate change, the drift towards the cities, the mangling of our countryside, cultural routes will not exist in 10 to 15 years' time. The question is, do I want to spend those 10 or 15 years creating a new route which might never get anywhere, or do I want to spend it working with local communities along the existing routes to try and form them a sustainable future?
Thank you. Thank you for the challenge.